One moment Arsenal supporters were dreaming of immortality, the next Paris Saint-Germain were lifting another European crown beneath the Budapest lights. When Kai Havertz launched an audacious overhead finish into the net, the entire stadium felt like it was witnessing destiny. Arsenal had control, confidence, momentum, and the emotional energy of a fan base desperate for history. PSG, meanwhile, looked rattled, stretched, frustrated, and dangerously close to losing their grip on the biggest stage in club football. Yet finals are rarely decided by first impressions. They are decided by nerve, adjustments, belief, pressure, chaos, and moments that completely rewrite the script. From the opening whistle, Arsenal tried imposing an aggressive structure designed to suffocate PSG's build-up. Their midfield pressed high, their fullbacks attacked space, and Havertz repeatedly drifted into dangerous pockets. Tactical analysts are theorizing that Arsenal identified PSG's left channel as a vulnerability, and for long stretches that plan worked. PSG looked unusually hesitant, almost trapped by the occasion. Sources close to the dressing room allegedly believed calm was needed more than panic, but the body language suggested uncertainty. Every misplaced pass increased tension, every Arsenal attack felt like a warning, and every minute intensified the sense that something enormous. But that's just the surface level, because what the cameras missed before halftime changes everything. PSG emerged for the second period with noticeably greater intensity, and the shift was immediate. Rather than forcing risky combinations, they attacked directly, targeting transitions and isolations. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia became the focal point, constantly driving at defenders and provoking uncomfortable decisions. The decisive moment arrived when he burst into the area and went down under a challenge. Arsenal protested furiously, the bench erupted, and social media instantly descended into civil war. The referee pointed straight to the spot, creating the turning point that reshaped everything. Ousmane Dembele then stepped forward, carrying the weight of expectation. His penalty was calm, ruthless, and psychologically devastating. Suddenly, Arsenal were no longer protecting a dream, they were defending against panic. PSG sensed weakness, pushed numbers higher, and began controlling territory. This was where the tactical battle became fascinating. Arsenal started dropping deeper, inviting pressure, while PSG circulated possession with increasing confidence. What looked like tactical caution from Arsenal slowly transformed into tactical suicide. Every retreating step handed PSG another advantage, and every successful sequence reinforced the feeling that momentum had completely abandoned them at the worst possible time imaginable. As regulation ended level, frustration spread through both camps. PSG supporters believed several challenges deserved stronger punishment, while Arsenal fans argued the penalty decision altered the entire contest. The fan base was spiraling, and every replay generated another argument. Meanwhile, players surrounded officials, coaching staffs exchanged gestures, and the atmosphere became increasingly volatile. Sources close to matchday operations claimed security preparations intensified because emotions were running exceptionally high. This was no longer simply a football match. It had become a psychological endurance test where concentration mattered as much as talent, technique, structure, fitness, experience, leadership, courage, resilience, patience, composure, and luck. But that's not even the most dramatic layer, because extra time exposed the emotional limits of both squads. Arsenal attempted one final surge, seeking the decisive breakthrough, while PSG relied on controlled possession and calculated risk. Several refereeing calls drew furious reactions, with players throwing their arms upward and benches demanding explanations. Tactical analysts are theorizing that fatigue distorted decision-making, creating unusual mistakes from players normally known for composure. The match increasingly resembled a chess game played during an earthquake where every move carried consequences, every duel carried tension, and every whistle triggered fresh controversy, debate, outrage, and suspicion. When penalties arrived, the pressure became almost unbearable. Gonzalo Ramos opened confidently, sending a message to teammates and opponents alike. Victor Gyökeres responded for Arsenal, briefly restoring balance. Then came the sequence that will dominate discussions for years. Eberechi Eze failed to convert, shocking supporters who expected composure. Moments later, Gabriel also missed, and the emotional collapse was impossible to ignore. PSG players celebrated wildly, substitutes stormed forward, and the bench emptied in release. Arsenal players dropped to the turf, staring into the distance, confronting the unbearable reality that history had slipped away despite being within touching distance all night. The wider implications are enormous. PSG are no longer chasing validation. They are building a dynasty. Winning consecutive European titles reshapes perceptions across football. It strengthens recruitment power, commercial leverage, and dressing room authority. It also sends a message to rival executives that PSG have finally mastered the balance between superstar talent and collective structure. However, Arsenal face uncomfortable questions. Did they retreat too early? Were substitutions effective enough? Did nerves override preparation? Those conversations will dominate talk shows, podcasts, boardrooms, newspapers, and supporter debates throughout the summer. Allegedly, internal reviews are already being discussed behind closed doors at every level. But here's the rehook. What if this final was decided long before kickoff? Tactical analysts are theorizing that the psychological preparation of both clubs may have